How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we're taking a look at the in-depth notes for the news coming out today on February 23rd. This is a Tuesday. We've got loads and loads of stuff to cover. We went over the operations that are coming in next week, but this one's going to be focused on what actually comes in on the update. So there's quite a few new things that have come in. As you can see by the 4.4 gigabyte update for Xbox and 4.2 gigabyte update for PlayStation. What do we have then? We've got the fact that the cost of consumables is now been slashed by 50% forever. This is basically because people are getting charged way too much for consumables. I think it will make it a lot better now. You guys won't be losing as much silver. If you're losing silver, it's probably because you are, using too many consumables that, you aren't using. And also you're using too much premium ammunition when you don't necessarily need it. So, now you're going to be able to actually earn credits when you're grinding through the tech tree. In addition to this, we've got the two new maps that are coming in. I say new, one of them's obviously the old one, which is Highway. It's just been revamped and made into a new kind of skinned version of it, so it looks better on your consoles. And then we've got Vineyards, which is the community map, and that's basically been added into rotation as well. So there's two maps that weren't in rotation before, and they're going to be in there now. Additionally, we're going to have mines up to tiers 8 and to 10, so you'll be able to play mines from tiers 8 and 10. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not a fan of that map, to be honest with you, but for those of you who really like mines, that's going to be fantastic for you. So basically what it's going to enable is that we're going to have an extra map at tier 10 or tiers 8 to 10 even, and that'll just mean that it's technically we've got 3 maps coming into rotation if you play at those tiers. And then we've got additionally, Kasserine, Fishman's Bay and Pilsen have been added to tiers 5 and 6, so there's 3 new maps coming down to that tier. I'm not a fan of Kasserine. Fishman's Bay is a good one, and Pilsen's one of those that, personally I'm not a big fan of. I think that it's not got that many good areas for a lot of tanks, and so yeah, it's quite difficult to play in something like a turreted TD, a non-turreted TD even. But at least we've got some more maps in the rotation for those tiers as well. They've added Abbey to tiers 2 to 3. Not a big one, but I don't know. I just don't really see the point in that, because you only have to play like 3 games to get out of tier 3 anyway. And then we've got one key thing that I am actually stoked about is actually that they've toned down the brightness on San River. That was a big problem for me personally, because the glare was awful. So I'm glad that they've kind of toned that down, and it will be nicer for everyone. I think quite a few people were actually complaining about that, and that's something that I'm quite happy with. That's actually come into the game. They've added the theatre of war elements to all maps, such as artillery strikes and Katyusha rockets. So that's kind of just like the effects in game. So you're going to have random planes flying down and artillery strikes and stuff like that. They don't do any damage. They're just literally visual for the maps. And then they were talking about removing assault mode from a couple maps. The maps that they're doing that for are Kasserine, Kaunas, or Kunis, or I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, and then Pilsen. So yeah, they've removed basically assault mode from those. Have no problems with that personally. I know I don't particularly like assault that much, but yeah, it's a nice one to have occasionally. Then in specific to Kunis, we've got standard battle. Select Team 1 spawns move to the north, and then Team 2 spawns move towards the ravine. So you're gonna, if you jump into the game, you are gonna be moved spawns if you jump into that map. And then Team Destruction, the mirrored spawns to better match standard battle variant 2. So they're basically keeping the Team Destruction to the same kind of spawns as the actual standard battle. Then we've got Abbey. They've just adjusted the spawns again. That's not a bad problem for me, to be honest. So yeah, it's basically similar to the first variant of the standard battle. And then we've got standard battle variant 1 on steps. They basically moved them, and that's the case for a lot of maps. It's just basically them moving the spawns. The maps that they're doing that for, if you want to look in detail, you can obviously pause right now and have a look in specific, but those are Pilsen, Fisherman's Bay, Cliff, Mines, and that's it. And there's obviously quite a few different things. I'll go through it slowly so you can pause it at a certain point if you want to. So there you go. The next thing is the tank balance changes, which we did talk about as part of the previous video. We don't know, or we didn't know back then, what they were actually going to do, but now we've been given some more information, we'll be able to talk about them. So the T62A has basically had a DPM buff. They've reduced the reload time on its 100mm gun, which basically means you're just going to have more DPM. It's going to be more competitive with tanks like the 140 and the 430. It's just basically going to be flat out better DPM. So that's good for those of you who like playing the T62A. Those of you who've got the T95E6, you're basically going to be better in a lot of ways. So you're going to have a faster whole rotation speed, so you can turn a lot quicker. So you've got 4 degrees a second extra. You've got dispersion on the move, or dispersion during movement or turret or rotation is basically got better. So if you're moving about your hull, you'll basically be able to shoot better. And then the 120mm gun on the tank has basically got better accuracy. So you've now got a 2-second aim time instead of 2.3, and your accuracy's gone up by 0.03 to 0.35. So that's also good for those of you who like driving this tank. Then we have the Hollenhund and the Brazilian Bulldog and all of the M41 Walker Bulldog variants kind of getting buffs. So the Hollenhund now has a better dispersion whilst turning. It's got better view range by 10 meters. So it's now got 410 view range at tier 8, which is actually really, really quite nice. And then we've got the 90 or the 76mm US gun having a increase in reload down from 6.6 to 6.4. So you're going to be able to have a better DPM on the Hollenhund. Then we've got the Brazilian Bulldog. It's basically got more health, make it a bit more competitive. It's not a tank that was particularly great, and it's got very similar things. You know, you've got the shot dispersion during movement. That's actually down again by 0.02, and then it's got better view range, gone up by 10 meters, and you've got better accuracy in general, with some improvements to accuracy and aim time as well. Similarly to the M41 Bulldog, if you want to go through that in particular, then you can look on screen. I don't really want to go through every single stat for every single tank, but you can look at the M41 Bulldog. That's the Tech Tree Tier 8 British American light tank. Then we've got quite a few new improvements also coming into the game. These are kind of quality of life, and you've basically got a second colorblind mode option, which is going to be helpful for those of you who have been struggling visually. That's going to be really important for those of you. I think that's always a good thing. We've had a few minor ones, like the options is now being renamed to settings, so you can basically know what it is a bit better. Then we've got the post-battle results screen. The back text has been renamed to back to garage. Just small things like that has been made. And now when you equip a reserve consumable, so if you've already got one in your garage, if you equip it, it won't automatically do it for gold. It will now ask you which you want to pick for gold. So, if you pick a consumable, it will ask you now that you already have on a tank. It will then choose you'll be able to choose which currency it uses instead of automatically going to gold. which is always good because people have been caught out a lot of times with paying for gold for consumables, and that gets really expensive when they're like 25 gold each or something. The store now displays text description for the season pass on the main screen. Sizing and placement for the consumables is now in line with ammo on the HUD, so basically better fitted to the HUD. They've simplified the module and crew icons when damaged, so you'll be able to see them a lot easier. They should make more sense. And they soften the circular edge for sniper mode on the HUD, updated Mississippi's flag to the new design. Repeatable ops now show the number of completions remaining and show an infinity symbol if they are repeatable indefinitely. So that's just small changes yet again. They've added tank class and name to the MVP screen, which is nice. So, if you want to see what tank came the top, you'll be able to see it. If you can't already notice from what it just visually looks like, you'll be able to check that out. And then you can maybe go and have a look in Garage at the tech tree to find out how or what's good about it and what's bad about it if it managed to take you out. Then we've got enlarged the text in the ammo purchase confirmation screen, improved the temporal anti-aliasing for trees to reduce the ghosting effect. So basically things were disappearing or not registering. So yeah, that's always good. And then we've got tank stats damage per shot changed to damage per game, which that's something that we definitely needed. I would like to see some more stats actually in the Garage, but I guess they're working on that. I'm not entirely sure, but the advanced statistics would be nice as well. We've also added a siege mode icon to the tank stats panel to indicate the vehicle is in siege mode, or is a siege mode tank even. So if you're playing the STRVs, the Swedish tanks, or the what's it called? The Chinese the Japanese STB1. I'm pretty sure that gets siege mode too. And then they've improved the confirmation display for consumables and equipment, which is always good. We've got post-mortem cam is now positioned higher and further back in third person, so you can see around your tank a lot more after you've been taken out. And then finally, a couple things is that a new commander skill has been added. Pretty terrible one in my opinion. All it does is reduce the flip time by 50%. It's called rollover recovery skill, and it's not going to be very worth it. A lot of the other ones are just flat out better, and I wouldn't waste my time with putting that skill on unless you derp yourself over all of the time. Then maybe it's worth it, but yeah, for the vast majority of players, I would never ever use this skill on your tanks. There's quite a few bug fixes. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but what I will do is, yet again, I'll just pause it or allow you to pause on them to have a look. A few notable ones is now that you can gift bundles even if you already own the tank. You've got things like emblems looking better, a few things where, on the maps there was invisible kind of, or you could see through rocks and stuff like that. So some of those have been changed and improved, so that's always good. There you go. I'm pretty sure you can just pause if you want to have a look at those individually, but that's everything in terms of the patches, the fixes, the improvements. We will move now on to the keycards and the bundles and stuff you can pick up this week, and kind of go over whether they're worth it or not in game. So what's happened with the keycards is that they've actually been re-rolled or redone so that you can now get different tanks out of the keycards. Keycards you can buy for actual money. They're a bit like loot boxes. They're kind of fun, but it's that borderline gambling that I wouldn't recommend, and it's not something I would ever actually spend my money on, but it is, I guess, something fun if you are going to spend money on World of Tanks. Then these are a fun way of doing it. But basically, we'll go through the rewards. Confidential keycards, they're very similar to what they were before. Obviously, you can get premium tanks from tiers 2 to 3 out of them, and you get gold. You can get another keycard. You can get premium account time. You can get boosters and silver and free XP. The drop rates for the different ones are 10% for a premium tank, 5% for another keycard, 21% for extra gold. You get 3% for premium account time. You're more than likely going to get silver at 53%, 12% for Commander XP boost, 30% for XP boost, free XP at 54, and silver at 4.4. You will always receive 150 gold no matter what, so you will always receive that, and then you can get various different things with that. So what tanks can you get out of these? You can get the Toldi, tier 3, a Sexton 1, tier 3, T29, another tier 3, and then I think that they start moving up to tier 4s here. I think up until this point, they're tier 3s, and then you get the A32, the AC1 Sentinel, Honor, the Panzer KPFW T25, I think that's a tier 5, the Skoda T40, the Poodle, the Skullcap, and then these lot are the tier 8, so you can get 2 tier 8s possibly out of these key cards. I wouldn't recommend just opening them to just get these tanks, because you'll probably spend more money than actually just buying them flat out. But those are the ones you can get out of the key card, and I thought it would be good to just show you what you can actually get and what's likely to actually get. They're in rotation in the key cards for 1 month until the 23rd of March. And then they'll go and be reshuffled again, and you'll have various different premium tanks that you can get out of them. Additionally, the classified key cards, we'll go through those now. They're very similar. All of the drop rates are the exact same, pretty much, except you'll get less of a chance to get silver and stuff like that. Obviously, if you want to check those out, you can look right now. Same chance for the premium tank. You can get a 10% chance. And you'll always receive 275 gold in these kind of ones. And the premium tanks you can get are from tier 5 to tier 8. So you've got the opportunity to get the Churchill 3. You've got the opportunity to get the Panzer 5.4, the M4 Improved, the M4A2 E4 Sherman, Excelsior, Tiger 217, Cromwell B, the HMH T34 85M, the Type 64, the British Bulldog Churchill 7, you can get the Rover, the Slayer SU-152, and then you've got 3 tier 8s that you can possibly get in the Vindicator Charioteer, the Lerva, and the Barracuda. Just thought it would also be good to note that you can actually get the gold value if you already own the tank, so you will get refunded the full price of gold for that tank. So if you're doing the season passes and you get a tank that you've already got out of one of the key cards, you will get the full price of gold, so long as you actually have the tank in your garage. So that's always good. And then top secret. If you want to check out the drop rates, you can do that on screen right now. You get a minimum of 425 gold with every card, and then the premiums that you can get are simply tier 7 to tier 8. So you won't be able to get any rubbish like premiums. I say rubbish, but low tiers. So tier 7 to 8. I won't go through the entire list of tanks for this one because there's a lot more than the previous ones, but you can see on screen right now, if you want to pause, the various different tanks. You've got a lot of older ones there in the Jagdtiger 8.8 and stuff like that, but do remember, if you already own these, then you will get the gold value, so that's always good. So if you own a lot of premium tanks, it might actually be worth opening key cards if you want to get gold instead, but other than that, I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. I'd rather just purchase the actual tank that you're looking for. So yeah, that's the key cards and what you can get out of them. We'll now move on to what's actually happening this week, and then finally look at the bundles. So basically, just going over a couple things. Obviously, the season ends on the 9th of March. Also, the tanks go out on the 9th of March. Tanker rewards still going until the 9th of March yet again. Key cards, we've already gone over the on-track event to the Cranbarn, which I went over in yesterday's video, so if you want to check that out, then go ahead. Same with the Defender of the Fatherland Urn Challenge. We've got Top of the Class as well, yet again part of yesterday's video, so if you want any more details on that, then you can do that at the end of this video. I should probably link it at the end for you to click on if you want to see that. And then finally, we're going to look at the bundles and whether I think any of them are actually worth getting this week. The first one, we've got preferential treatment. These are basically tanks that don't meet tier 10, can't possibly meet tier 10. They are particularly not great tanks, I'm not going to lie. The Super Pershing is pretty weak, the IS-6 is pretty terrible, and the Panther 88 is pretty terrible. So, if you're spending 11,000 gold, it's probably not the package I would get personally, because there's a lot better ones out there. Yeah, they're pretty shoddy. The Super Pershing isn't a medium tank, it's a heavy, so don't get confused with that. It's like it's a Pershing, but basically with spaced armour that makes it like a heavy. So yeah, definitely don't go purchasing that thinking it's an American medium, because it really isn't. IS-6 is pretty terrible. You're better off getting the Hydra. Yeah, basically I wouldn't recommend this bundle. Then we have the Encirclement Specialist. These tanks are actually fairly decent. If you're looking at mediums that actually play a bit like a medium should, you've kind of got a little bit of everything. You've got a heavily armoured medium here in the Volk T44-100. You've got kind of the American style medium in the M46 Patton Deathstalker, and then the Senshi STA2, which is a glass medium with pretty much no armour whatsoever, but a really, really good gun. If you've got 11,000, it's a decent shout if you haven't got any of them, and yeah, it should be quite nice. Then we've got the Change It Up bundle. This is probably one I wouldn't recommend, to be honest, unless you really wanted the Icebreaker, because that's it's an alright tank, but yeah, it's like a Maus at tier 8. It's like a Maushan, it's not going to be amazing. So I wouldn't recommend it. And then the M4A1 Revelry's been left behind somewhat recently. It's a glass paper medium tank with a fairly high alpha gun, 390 alpha damage. Would I recommend purchasing it for 8,500 gold? I don't know. The Type 62 is nice. And the Icebreaker's somewhat decent, but yeah, the Revelry's is pretty poor, and I think it's not very new player friendly, any of these. So, I mean, 8,500 for 3 premium tanks is quite nice. So it's really up to you in terms of that. The next bundle is the hand-picked bundle. This is, I don't know. I think it's nice because it has the Tiger 131 in it, which is pretty broken, and the Lycan, which is also pretty broken, but then you've got the Guardian, which is kind of boosting the price up, and the Guardian isn't really that good, to be honest with you, and paying 12,700 gold for 2 tanks that are actually quite good, and then a tank that's pretty useless, you'd be better off actually just purchasing one of them. If you're into the Tiger builds or the light tanks, then definitely just purchase it as kind of the single deal, to be honest with you. Then we have a bundle which I literally don't get why anyone would purchase this. It's basically 4 of the exact same tank. The Tiger Shark a lot of people already have. Same with the Trailblazer, because you got them free as part of the Hot Wheels Season Pass, and then 2 tanks that were the premium version of the Season Pass. Yeah, you can purchase them for 23,000 gold, and they're all pretty much the same tank, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend that for anyone. Especially if you don't like light tanks, then definitely don't purchase this bundle. It's not a great saving either, so yeah, definitely don't get that one, yeah, in my opinion. Then we have the Frontline Duo. Got the Roger Dodger. That's a pretty neat little tank. It's quite fast. It's kind of got an E75 hull with a Lerva turret. Interesting. Got a bit of space armor as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's decent, but I wouldn't recommend spending 15,000 gold for both of these. The Bone Shaker, it's like a T95 but a tier 8. Yeah, I don't know. Not for 15,000 gold, I don't think. Yeah, I'd rather wait until one of them's on sale and then you can pick them up slowly. They're not ones I would rush out to buy. Then we've got the Dreadful Duo. This is the Dread Dozer. That tank's actually pretty good. It's like a M48 at tier 8 with a weird spaced armor front. Looks kind of cool. And then the Fangula AE Phase 1. These are tanks I believe that you got as part of the Season Pass. Yeah, for 18,500 gold, I wouldn't recommend. Again, I don't think that these savings are enough to warrant purchasing them in a bundle, to be honest with you. But other than that, that's the bundles. We have a few other things to look at. They've been selling a lot of the commanders. They're 1,250 each. And if you've missed them through the season pass and you really want them, then you can purchase them here for 1,250 gold. And then obviously, as usual, you get a 15% discount on any of the premium tanks that were in the bundles on their own. So if you want to pick those up, then go ahead. But by far the best bundle to purchase this week is the Dreadnought KV2 at a 50% saving, only costing 3,500 gold. Perfect, to be honest. I think this tank is really, really overpowered, and this is the one I would go to. If you haven't got it already, it's so much fun, and I would 100% get this tank if I was you, if you haven't already got it. 3,500 gold is nothing, to be honest with you, especially since you get a lot from the season pass extra on top of the cost of the season pass. So that's one I would definitely recommend. It's got 700 alpha tier 7 with 250 heat pen, so you pretty much pen everything and deal 700 every 16 seconds or so. So yeah, definitely a tank I enjoy, and you can have some fantastic games in it. And then a tier 6 light tank in the T50-2. This is another really great one, really cheap, really fun, definitely one you'll enjoy. It's so fast, goes up to 70 kilometers an hour, 70 to 75. It's got a pea shooter gun, so you're firing every second. It's really, really good for out-traversing heavy tanks and dealing lots of damage really quickly in very, very, very small amounts. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, this tank right here. So yeah, 100% would recommend purchasing both of these if you can. Definitely really good ones. As usual, we've got some streams on Twitch if you want to check them out. On the 23rd, which is today, you'll be able to see the update rundown stream, and that's from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock UTC. Then on the 26th, we've got a community update stream with Minto Vimto and executive producer Pain God, and they'll basically just chat it for an hour. That's from 8 till 9 UTC, and then on the 1st of March, we'll get the insider information for the next week. That's at 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. That's almost it. We've got one last thing to just look at, and that's the personal offers for you. And they come in the form of the HMH Huntsman Centurion. A lot of you will probably already have it from the season pass last season. We've got the Citadel Tiger 1 and the Stockade. The one I would focus on out of these, the Huntsman's really good if you haven't already got it, and it will be 50% off. And then the Stockade is actually also very good. The Citadel Tiger, I believe, is a tier 6 Tiger, so yeah, it's probably a little bit weaker than the normal Tiger, but yeah, potentially one if you want to pick up and you're interested in the Tiger. It will be 50% off as part of the personal offers for the week. Other than that, that is literally everything. I know it's been a long one, but hopefully I've covered everything that you need to know for this week. If you want to ask me any questions, then do that in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe to make sure that you stay up to date with all of the latest news for World of Tanks console, and really make sure that you get up to date with everything. If you want any questions, obviously just ask me, like I said, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. If you want to check out any of the other videos I have, then there will be links on screen right now. See ya.